I think university these days face the same problem, right? People are asking why, because it is a lot of money and it is a huge amount of time. Are you going to get what you think you're going to get after that 3 years, that 4 years? A lot of times the answer is no.
You mentioned about your pivoting was like one of the hardest moments. Just tell me more about that. Like, what happened? Why do you guys need to pivot in the first place?
Our reason for pivoting was because we found that there was a disconnect between web design and what we wanted, as well as what our lifestyles entailed at that point of time. Because we were still students and we had to juggle school and work. We didn't want to always have to constantly deal with clients, because web design is a very, very highly interactive industry, right? You got to always like run through like either proposals or meetings or revisions with your clients, or doing sales as well. So that was something that we couldn't sustain. So we wanted something that was more scalable. At the point, we didn't even know the word scalable. We just wanted something that was like a product that we don't really need to spend that much time with a client. So we looked at it, and I have this like process that I follow now. It's called a double diamond, right? Which is split into 4 different segments. So you need to essentially figure out your requirements, brainstorm about like the possibilities out there, define like your own resources, your strengths, your weaknesses, and from there you can actually really narrow down onto like a solution, or in this case a pivot, an idea that will satisfy all these things. So it's a structured way of thinking. And for us, when we looked at it, one of the things that, like, besides time that we wanted to have more of, we also looked at what our resources were. And our resources back then was basically the clients that we had, our customer database, right? Or our existing customers from the web design business. The very logical thing that every web design customer needs is web hosting, because they need somewhere to put their website. So we thought that web hosting was a good idea to go into. It was a product, it didn't really require a lot
But one of the things was because you were already serving that client, right? I mean, you were already serving that audience, so you were able to kind of like narrow a bit deeper down into like what is the real problems, or like some of the deeper problems that you can actually solve.
Not really a deeper problem. I guess it was a different set of problems.
Yeah.
Because even when we were Vodien, the web hoster, right, we were never doing design. Although we worked very closely with web design agencies, it was 2 separate problems when you look at it. A company would require a website. When they do that, when they say that, they need 2 things. They need a website that's designed, and then they need it to be hosted somewhere. So there are like 2 different problems, related, very, very close, but different.
But pretty much, so in a way you're serving your audience, and then you realize that they have different set of problems that you actually could solve. And you actually can pivot your business towards that. That is not just more scalable, but it gives you the kind of not just money, but in terms of like it fits into your lifestyle, your time, and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Okay. So would that be the advice that you would give people right now if they're trying to pivot?
For sure. I guess one thing that entrepreneurs and business owners have to be is nimble and agile. Like, if anything, change is a constant. It's cliche, but like the one thing that I guess is constant throughout my whole journey is that change is constant. Like, even the way that we have our departments and our flow of, say, customer tickets and whatever it is, changes all the time. Because the customers would grow, the number of customers would grow. We will realize a problem that needs to be fixed. There was a bottleneck somewhere that was like slowing things down, and things kept changing. And like, for me, I'm not a very sentimental person, which is also good, because when you get too emotionally invested in certain things, it could be your job, or it could be like a passion of yours, or it could be whatever it is. If there is an engagement or that the kind of like connection that you don't want to let go of that, then it becomes a problem, because that stops you from looking at something else, that stops you from like pivoting, or that stops you from adapting.
I think there's this saying that, don't fall in love with your product, but fall in love with your customer.
Exactly.
Right?
I think that's so important. Entrepreneurs, I think, need to have that differentiation. Otherwise, they risk really becoming too stagnant, or becoming too blindsided to what the real problem is.
So how do you feel after leaving? Because I hear a lot of stories of how when people sold their company, and then perhaps they don't have anything that's next, and they will usually have some kind of like something empty, like, okay, what's next? What are they gonna do now? I heard that like the first batch of people who all went to the moon came back depressed. Now, I'm not saying you are depressed. But I'm saying like it's like you've been to the moon and you come back, it's like, what's next? Right? So like, how do you feel? Was some of these things that were you going through some of this? Like, what do you do after you left?
Oh, absolutely, man. I was maybe not depressed, but I was definitely feeling very lost. So I left in July 2018. After that, I was really lost. I at that point in time decided to sell everything that I had. I was like wondering why I had all these stuff at home, and when I was running my business, I was very busy, right?
Yeah.
And so you don't really care about the stuff that you know that's in your life. But
Yeah.
after you don't have a business, I didn't have a purpose anymore, right?
Yeah.
And I was like at home and looking at the stuff that I had, and I realized I didn't really need a lot of these things. Because most of the time they were actually all of the time they were either in my cupboard or my wardrobe, like my clothes, and I'll never take them out. They're always there just in case, or you know, I'll use them one day or whatever it is, right? So I had that, and I decided to sell everything.
So everything that you have?
Everything.
Okay.
I sold my apartment, I sold my car, I sold all the stuff I have. I only have like 4 t-shirts right now. 1 pair of jeans, 1 pair of shorts, 1 pair of board shorts, one pair of flip-flop, 1 pair of shoes, like one of each.
You know what's funny? Every time I hear stories like this is not the first time I hear something like this, okay? It's like most entrepreneurs that, I mean, like, okay, once they reach it's like a woke moment. I don't know how to tell you, like when you started, because you just want more money for yourself, which is what you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah.
You just want more income for yourself, you want to buy the stuff you want, and things like that. And then eventually you reach a point that you realize that actually none of this stuff really matters. And then you sell everything. Like when I studied different kinds of entrepreneurs from like even Elon Musk, he sold everything, right? So you just sold everything, okay? And then what do you work on after that?
I traveled. So I realized I didn't really have anything that was holding me back in Singapore also. So I decided to just travel. That was something I never did or was never able to do in the past because my business was always in Singapore. So when I could, in 2018, I decided to just leave. And I traveled for 2 years after that. I came back to Singapore every 3 months.
Yeah.
But I'll be traveling, I'll be on the road. I had no home, no nothing, so I just traveled.
Okay.
That's when I learned snowboarding, I learned kite surfing, I was visiting friends.
So going back to exploring again.
Yeah, so I was like literally like full-time traveling.
I think this reinforces the idea that we are not just meant to work for money,
Yeah.
right? We are meant to always have a purpose, something that we are working towards.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And even though I was traveling, right, I realized, and so my plan was to travel, work on my fitness, maybe write a bit or read as well. But those were just, I guess, distractions. They don't really like give you a bigger purpose. Like Tolstoy says, right, man has a desire for desires. You will always be wanting to do something. And for me, when I was traveling, it was a good like distraction, but I didn't feel like I was productive. So in March this year, I decided to come back and like literally work on stuff again.
Do you believe that entrepreneurs need to go to school?
Oh man.
Or a degree? Yeah.
Okay, so this is something that I recently discovered also.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the reason why a lot of things don't work for all people. It's the same for nutrition, dieting, fitness programs, whatever it is, right? Everything depends. For me, one of the greatest things that I got from school was the ability to go overseas to study and live for 2 years. My family would never have been able to afford that, so I actually had a scholarship. That scholarship was given to me when I was like 19, at the end of poly. At that point, I didn't know I was going to get a scholarship. So when I did receive it, it was too late for me to apply for overseas universities already. That was when I was like, okay, let me go to a local university and see what happens. SMU was the only university that had a joint program that allowed me to do 2 years in SMU and 2 years in Carnegie Mellon. So for that, I'm very, very thankful. It was the experience of going overseas that I think really expanded my perspective and really shaped me as a person. Not necessarily the academic knowledge.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, to me, I think the life experiences were more than worthwhile going through that path.
Okay. You got a scholarship.
Yes.
Okay, so but what if someone don't have a scholarship? They could have just spent the money to just go and travel first, and maybe from those traveling gain the same experience. Would that work as well?
Depends on what they want to achieve.
Okay.
Like, even for me, if you ask me like what I did when I traveled for 2 years, right? I don't think that was very structured or productive necessarily. However, if you do very like specific things, like maybe you go for a 3-month course in like Poland or something, or you try to learn programming in Switzerland, or you go to the US for a boot camp. I think these are the things that give you perspective because Not just because you're in a different country, but because you're in a program with like-minded people that are pursuing the same things as well. So that gives you the diversity and the perspective to grow as an individual. If you are left on your own, it's a little harder to attain that.
Yeah.
But totally, if you could channel the funds into something else, definitely, I think that's something that's also very, 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 very possible. Yeah, I think university these days face the same problem, right? People are asking why, because it is a lot of money, and it is a huge amount of time.
Yes.
Are you going to get what you think you're going to get after that 3 years, that 4 years?
Yeah.
A lot of times the answer is no, unless you're a doctor or you know a lawyer or
a specific skill set.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
Exactly. That have to go through that.
And I think what you say is true. Like it really depends, right? Because if someone is going into school with no proper intention, right, no objective, they're just going to school because they don't want to go back and work. Yeah, that happens, right? Yeah. They just don't want to go and work first, so they want to go to school, enjoy life, and then probably not.
Yeah.
Right. But if they go with certain objective, they have they have a proper intention. Like for you, you were already doing your business, so you use school as a way to kind of like ask questions, to grow your business, to get more, ideas, opportunities.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and being around like-minded people. I do agree that being in school is where you get to connect with the right kind of people.
Yes.
Like even though they say like Mark Zuckerberg, people like that, they drop out of school. But they got their first funding from the from people in school. All the friends in school.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, I think that's super important. If there's one thing that I believe in is to have intention behind every single thing that we do.
Okay.
That's the same case that, as how I approach my business problems also, or anything that I do in my business.
Yeah.
The same thing that I do in my life also, like that you have to have intention. And it wasn't very clear at the start. When I look back, I wish I knew that intention should be the reason why we do things, not tradition, not obligation, not any other thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
Intention, right? So not tradition. Very nice. I like that. I like that. So final topic, which is what you're doing right now, right? So you came back to Singapore and decided to kind of like stay put right now.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.